Well, people, I know what you're thinking. Look, it's another crafter video. No, not really. Um, as you can tell, it does look a little different. Well, I started to do another video, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. As you can tell, the frame is all black, but the more I got to looking and actually dug around in this thing, the more I seem to start to realize that there is a lot more missing to this quad than I would like there to be for me to do something cheap starting off. I do have more projects, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you how you can cheaply off-road in 2025. Not only just with four-wheelers, but with vehicles. If we come up here, now you can do this with whatever budget you really set for yourself. You can either go buy something that's already built, or you can buy something really cheap and put a cheap amount of money into it, like I'm going to, and do it yourself. And that's kind of the point of this video, is I want to talk about doing it yourself and how I'm going to do it myself. So here we go. This is the cheap vehicle. I know it's gorgeous, right? Well, this is a 98 Ford Exploder. All right, full-wheel drive, 4.0, automatic. Do I wish it was a two-door? Absolutely. But I paid $500 for this, drove it 2 hours home. Fuel pump went out on me. Put a fuel pump in it, and it still runs a little bit better. But we're going to make this Exploder into off-road toy. Now, as you can tell, it's got some dents and some dings, and well, matter of fact, I just don't care. So I've got some stuff. I've already put a fuel pump in it. I wish I would have videoed it, but I've already put a fuel pump in it. Dropped the tank and put one in it. I cranked up the torsion keys, because this has got a torsion key suspension in the front and a leaf spring in the rear. Now, if you're going to do this cheap, like I'm going to do this cheap, then there's some problems, some hoops you got to jump through first. So I don't know if you're familiar or not, but this type of suspension is called a torsion bar setup, or something along the lines of that. But there's a key in here that sets the ride height for the front end. The key is tightened up all the way with a bolt. That's as high as it'll go. As you can see, lots of rust. Only quarter panel rust. You want to try to get one that is mostly solid. You can get one that's a rust bucket and still have fun with it, but if you want something that's going to last you a little bit, you're going to want something that's got a solid frame at least. Leaf spring in the rear. This is good. This is good. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't know what the different types of suspension are. Well, you've got front independent suspension, you've got rear independent suspension. You want to try to stay away from those, from doing it as cheap as possible. The cheapest thing, if you can find it cheap, is to find an old truck, most likely like an old Jeep, maybe a Wrangler or something like that, that has leaf springs front and rear. That is the cheapest thing to do, because, you know, you can always flip the axle over to the bottom side of the leaf, or put a lift block on it. Lift block, bigger tires will get you most places you need to go. Well, as you can see, I've done got the front lifted up a little bit. It's a little tooted in the rear. I got to get some lift blocks for the rear, but I've already got some bigger tires. So let me set you down over here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Do you want to do things cheap? Do you want to have fun? Well, I know you may look at it from far away and go, whoa, that's a little different. Well, that's what we're talking about here. This is the plan. I have 4 of these bad boys. Good old Falken Wild Peaks 32 1150 15s. The original tires on it, 235s, I think is what these are. 235. This is, as you can tell, a lot bigger. And you may think, well, Marcus, that doesn't look like it's going to fit all that way. And you're going to be correct. So we're going to take a thing called an angle grinder and a hammer, and we are going to absolutely beat the life and cut everything we need to cut, front and back. Now, more likely when you do this, you're going to have to get your tires mounted. I would recommend you get one tire mounted if you can, or if you have a truck, mount all four. Take them to where you're going to put them on the car and do all the rest of the work. That way you can put them on. And you got to think, you're going to put these tires on, but they also have to turn. So you're going to have to cut here and here. But when you do this, there's a couple things you're going to want to look for. You're going to want a vehicle that is 100% four-wheel drive. You're going to want to look at one that's easy to lift or easy to throw tires on, cut, and have all sorts of fun. And if you look, this thing's premium. This is primo, all right? This is the best of the best that you can get for $500. Okay, all right? Yeah, that's fun. That's fine. Okay, you don't need that noise. Airbag. Yep, it's only being held in by one bolt. That's way too long. Parts thrown all over the back. Actually, when I was doing some work to this, the back hatchback there stopped working. So one of us was in here and one of us was on the outside trying to get that thing to work right. But the other thing you're going to want to do, if you do get one for $500, you really want to make sure it's running and driving. Died. That way you can, get along a lot quicker. You want to try to make sure that you don't have four-wheel drive problems like this one does. This one's got some four-wheel drive problems. It had some running problems. The running problems are somewhat fixed. I think it may be running out of fuel now because I didn't put any in it because my filler neck was just pouring out the fuel whenever I went to put in it. So I don't care enough right now to fix it. So I just figured I'd talk to you about it and we'll fix it at a later date. But tires gonna go on there for all the way around. And these things don't have to be perfect. As you can see, this one already suffered. And by suffered, I mean a lot of kicks everywhere because I just do not care. This thing's going to be beat in the woods, so it deserves to be treated like it's going to be beat in the woods. Look, that back window, plywood. Yeah. This is an absolute gem. See all this? It's just rust. Just rust. You don't need something completely solid to four-wheel. But all said and done, you're also going to see in here, you're going to see there is some new parts in here. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, I thought you were doing this cheap. Well, I am. And I just so happened to had known somebody that had one of these and wrecked it. Like literally right before they were going to do all the front end. And I got all the parts for free. So that was nice. The tires, I paid $100 for 4. As you can tell, they're not the meatiest tires in the world. These are testing tires. Okay. These are what I like to call, we're going to put these on, we're going to test the vehicle out, make sure off-road, and make sure that we like how it drives. Because if we don't like how it drives, it's going bye-bye. If I don't like how this thing does in the woods, there's no point in me keeping it because this is the only thing that I want this car for. Come along with me on this journey, and I'll show you how to four-wheel or off-road for cheap in 2025. I'll have less than $1,000 in this thing. I think I've actually got, including my tires, I've got like $630 in it. I think is where I'm at with it right now. I do have a couple things I need to fix. I did say there was a problem with the full drive. Well, this Exploder has a problem of sometimes stuff works and sometimes it doesn't. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm going to eliminate that problem. And by sometimes stuff work, I mean like sometimes the wipers work, sometimes the wipers don't work, sometimes the four-wheel drive works, sometimes it don't work, as in like it just sometimes has power to it and sometimes don't. Well, I want to show you how, if you've got that problem, you can do the same thing that I'm going to do. I know you're seeing all these trash behind me. But you can do the same thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to essentially put it all on my own switches to where I know what I'm looking at, how I'm looking at it. If I have to put it on a relay, then I'll put it on a relay. I mean, I'll show you guys how to put a CB radio in here. It's all sorts of stuff like that. Just the last one I had. This is the second Explorer that I've had, by the way. Not in this body style, but I had one that was full independent suspension. And it rode great. But I didn't want to put the money into it to lift it because it cost quite a bit to lift one of those to make it somewhat off-road capable. And I didn't want to do that. So I shipped it off. So your better things to do whenever you're doing this is you gotta think about what you're getting here, what kind of suspension your setup you're getting, because you can go and you can have fun with something that is full independent suspension, but you're not going to follow your buddies everywhere. Really, if you want something that's going to go good in the woods and stay good in the woods, I mean, most of the time you can do that with a Jeep Grand Cherokee or a Jeep Cherokee XJ. And this guy really liked Rick and Morty. You can do it with these old Explorers. Even if you go a little bit older than this, they've got a better suspension setup. They're a lot easier to work with. I think fun stuff like that. But you gotta really do your research on what you're gonna get to make sure, hey, I can do this. You don't have to have a garage to do this stuff. You can quite literally do it in the yard. I mean, if you got a Harbor Freight near you, and you have access for someone to take and mount your tires for you so that way you can cut them. Or, better yet, if you look up and you find a vehicle that's already been lifted for cheap, go for it. But once I get this running good enough, once I get it lifted, and once I get the four-wheel drive working, by lifted I mean my lift blocks for the rear and some tires all the way around, then I will be going wheeling. I'll pull the GoPro out and we'll go. I plan on having a good time with that. So,